Welcome to the Way of Mastery. This is Earl Purdy here on Facebook Live. I want to welcome you to the Way of Mastery. We're going to go deep. We're going to get in touch with our true self. We're going to get beyond the world for a while. We're going to leave the world and its fears and insanity behind. And we're going to learn a lesson, a powerful spiritual lesson. I'm Earl Purdy. Welcome to the Way of Mastery. And we are going to go deep. And our mighty companions are joining us right now. Listen carefully. We are going to be in the way of the heart. We're going to be in the way of the heart. Here is the place of certainty, power, and fulfillment. That is what we're going to talk about. Here is the place of certainty, power, and fulfillment. On page 136, in the way of the heart, in the way of mastery, page 136, here is the place of certainty, power, and fulfillment. That's what we're going to cover. Here is the place of certainty, power, and fulfillment. I'm Earl Purdy, here live on page 136 in the way of mastery. Yes. Now there are rules and there are guidelines, and I'm going to tell you what they are. I just want you to remember this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. I'll say it again. You need not believe the ideas, and you need not accept the ideas, and you need not even welcome the ideas. Some of these ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you may find hard to believe, and some of the ideas may seem to be quite startling. You are not being asked to analyze or judge the ideas at all. This is not an analyzation presentation. This is not an analyzation presentation. This is not an analyzation presentation. It's the use of these ideas. It is the use of these ideas that will give these ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Using these ideas will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Using it, remembering the ideas, we are going to focus on remembering what we are hearing. The emphasis is going to be on really hearing what we are being told. And then the use of these ideas will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. That's the truth. So I'm Earl, and I want to invite you and to welcome you to the Way of Mastery, and we're going to be on page 136 in the Way of Mastery and the Way of the Heart, and lesson 11, the Way of the Heart. The chapter is called A Meditation into the Heart of Christ, which is the heart of love. And the section we're going to be covering is called Here is the Place of Certainty, Power, and Fulfillment. Here's the place of certainty, power, and fulfillment. As most of you know, I don't analyze this material. What I try to do is let it come through me as clearly as possible so that we can hear what it's saying and so that we can remember what we're being told to do. It's about doing what the material is telling you to do. It's not about you necessarily understanding everything. Your understanding is not a powerful contribution to the truth. Your understanding is not a powerful contribution to the truth. It doesn't make it true or not, whether or not you understand it. But if you will use the ideas, you'll see that the ideas are true. So I'm going to go through the paragraph, and then we're going to see if we can allow ourselves to get the message that the Way of Mastery is trying to give us. And it feels really good to be with you. It always feels good to be with you. So I'm going to read through the paragraph with a little rhythm, and then I'm going to go back through it line by line, and we're going to see what the message is that the Way of Mastery is trying to give us. Here is the place of certainty, power, and fulfillment. Within this awareness lies the answer to every question you might choose to ask. Within this shimmering awareness is the reassurance that the end of the journey is certain. Within this shimmering awareness, do you abide at one with all minds and every aspect of creation? Join with me here often in remembrance of me, for this is the secret of communion. To relinquish the perception of the world in favor of the acknowledgement of reality. I say relinquish the perception of the world in favor of the acknowledgement of reality. What are you being asked to do? You're being asked to relinquish the perception of the world in favor of the acknowledgement of reality. So, here is the place of certainty, power, and fulfillment. Within this awareness, what awareness? The awareness of certainty, power, and fulfillment lies the answer to every question you may choose to ask. So any question that's coming to your mind right now, that question will be answered from a place of certainty, power, and fulfillment. Now, within this shimmering awareness, what shimmering awareness? The awareness of certainty, power, and fulfillment is the reassurance that the end of the journey is certain. Do you know that the way this is going to turn out is certain? It's going to turn out that you are experiencing total fulfillment and love. It's going to turn out where you are experiencing total fulfillment and love. Within this shimmering awareness, what shimmering awareness? The place of certainty, power, and fulfillment. Do you abide at one with all minds and with every aspect of creation? So in a place of power, in a place of certainty, and in a place of fulfillment, you are living at one with everything and everybody. You feel your oneness. You know your oneness with everything and everybody. So I'm going to ask you to join with me. I'm going to ask you to join with me in the remembrance of me. I'm going to join with you in the remembrance of you. Because that's the secret. What secret? The secret of communion. What is the secret of communion? You have to relinquish the perception of the world in favor of the acknowledgement of reality, which is the truth. So are you willing to relinquish your perception of the world? Especially if your perception of the world is not bringing you peace. If your perceptions are not giving you peace, if your perceptions are not giving you happiness and joy, then you need to let that perception go. Don't even spend any time trying to defend that perception. So you are to relinquish your perception of the world in favor of the acknowledgement of reality. And the Way of Mastery is getting us in touch with what reality is teaching us. We're on page 136 in the Way of the Heart. Mind reaches out forever. Mind reaches out forever, but it reaches only to itself. Do you know that your mind is reaching out to reality? But your mind is actually only reaching out to itself. So when your mind is reaching out to reality, your mind is reaching out to itself. Therefore, every word, I say every word that I share with you, every word that I share with you is already present within you. So, do you know that every word that I share with you is already present within you? Every word that I share with you is already present within you, because within you here alone does love abide. Love abides in here alone within you. There is no space for anything unlike love. There is no space for anything unlike love. This is why every loving thought is true. 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 For a loving thought arises not from the superficial or the surface level of the mind. The surface level of the mind that generates thoughts merely in reaction to other thoughts. So real love doesn't arise from the superficial or the surface level of the mind that generates thoughts merely in reaction to other thoughts. For love emerges from the depth of the heart. Love emerges from the depth of the heart that transcends what you know to be your body and your mind. So, paragraph 2 says, your mind reaches out. So where does your mind reach out? Your mind reaches out forever. But your mind only reaches to mind. So mind reaches to mind. That means that every thought I share with you is already within you. There's not anything that you're hearing that's not already in your mind. You're always hearing what's already in your mind. And do you know that that's where love is? There is no space for anything that's unlike love. There is no space for anything that is different from love. That's why every loving thought is true. Because if it's a loving thought, then that's a thought without fear, that's a thought without guilt, that's a thought without anger, that's a thought without conflict, that's a thought without lack, that's a thought without sickness. For something that's really loving, a thought that's really loving is not coming from the superficial surface level of a person's mind. No truly loving thought is coming from your surface levels of your mind. What's coming from the surface levels of your mind is what? What's coming from the surface levels of your mind are just thoughts that are reactions to other thoughts. So what's coming from the surface level of the mind, the ego level of the mind, is just you having thoughts that are reactions to other thoughts. But if you're experiencing love, if it's love that's really coming through you, do you know that love emerges from the depths of your heart? Love emerges from the depths of your heart. And don't you realize that it transcends what you know to be your body, it transcends what you know to be your mind, which is your normal feedback mechanism. So love emerges from the depth of the heart that transcends what you know to be your body and your mind and your feedback mechanism. So what is the second paragraph telling us? That the way that you learn what love is by recognizing what love isn't. The way you recognize what love is by recognizing what love isn't. Love isn't fear. Love isn't guilt. Love isn't anger. Love isn't sadness. Love isn't depression. Love isn't murder. Love isn't attack. Love isn't lack. Love isn't sickness. Love isn't separation. It says it right here. There is no space for anything unlike love, and every loving thought is true. That's so important. I need to remember that. Every loving thought is true. So would that mean that thoughts that are not loving are thoughts that are not true? That's exactly what it means. It means that whenever you experience or you hear any thought that's not loving, that thought is not true. If you judge yourself, if you condemn yourself, if you criticize yourself, if you judge others, if you condemn others, if you criticize others, those are not loving thoughts. Just forget it. It's not. They're not. Kim Demola says, I'm willing to relinquish the perception of the world in exchange for the acknowledgement of reality. Yvette says, every loving thought is true. Demola says, there is no space for anything unlike love in our holy minds. Phoenix says, love abides within us. We are one. Shared words of truth are already present in us. It's already present in us. And that is true. Jim says, only every loving thought is true. And if it's less than love, Kim says, it's not true. Sometimes, I realize how many years I've spent time, I've been teaching for over 40 years. And one of the things that I realize more than anything is that the ego is a part of our mind that likes to make everything as complicated as it possibly can. And sometimes nothing is more difficult for us to get than what's obvious and what's simple. And what could be more simple than if I'm having any kind of thought or any kind of feeling that brings me any form of lack of peace, then why don't I just tell myself I'm telling myself something that's not true? That's not ultimately true. Just that one thought would save you tons of pain and conflict. So let's go to the next paragraph. When you think a loving thought, what happens? You have been caressed by the touch of God. When you think a loving thought, you have been caressed by the touch of love. When you think a loving thought, you have been caressed by the touch of God. When you hear not loving thoughts within yourself, when you're not hearing loving thoughts within yourself, when you are not hearing loving thoughts within yourself, what does that mean? This can mean only that you have returned to the surface of your mind. When you're not hearing loving thoughts in your mind, it means that you are just at the surface of the mind and have denied the depth within you. So when you think a loving thought, that's how you know you're being caressed by God's touch. So how do I know when God is touching me? How do I know when love is touching me? When you're thinking a loving thought, your loving thoughts are coming from God. The loving thoughts are a reflection of the God's touch. When you're not hearing loving thoughts, when you're hearing thoughts that are not loving, it means that you just returned to your ego. You just started back to listening to your ego, the surface levels of your mind, and that you're really denying the depth inside of you. So what is it that you need to stop denying? You need to stop denying how deep you are, how much depth you have. How do you know when you're being touched by God? You are thinking loving thoughts. That's how you know you're being touched by love. That's how you know you're being touched by God. See how simple that is? And that's why I put the emphasis at first on let's just hear what it's saying. Because even if you don't believe it, this is so beautiful that it would make you feel better whether you believe it or not. And even if it wasn't true, what could harm you? How could it harm you to think that a loving thought would be at the touch of God? How can it harm you to only want to think loving thoughts? How can it harm you to be told that you don't want to create spaces in your mind for negativity and fear? If you would let yourself, and I would let myself, hear what Yeshua is saying in the way of mastery, you would just feel so much better. Next paragraph. We're gonna truck on through this as far as we can go. Here we go. I'm so glad that you're here with me live. I can feel it. So share the video on your timeline or in a group right next to where you see write a comment, it has a little icon that says share. So take a moment to share the video. Would you do that for me? I'd really appreciate it. If you would hear only loving thoughts, if you would hear only loving thoughts, if you would hear only loving thoughts, what do you do? What do you do? Simply observe what? Where your attention is. Observe what? Where your attention is. If you would hear only loving thoughts, simply observe where your attention is and allow your attention to settle deeply into this place. What place? Allow your attention to settle beyond time, beyond the body, beyond the dream of the world. For this place, which is called the kingdom of heaven within you, the kingdom of heaven is vast beyond comprehension. The world, you know, when you take your attention to the surface of the mind, that world is contained and embraced within this heart. Like a dewdrop begins to be consumed by the ocean that receives it. So, if you only want to hear loving thoughts, what do you do? If you only want to hear loving thoughts, what do? You observe where you're putting your attention. See, you're putting your attention on the truth right now with me. So, what are you hearing? Only loving thoughts. That's the only thing that I've been sharing from the way of mastery. And it says, allow your attention to settle deeply into this place. What place? You want to let your attention for a while go beyond focusing your attention on time. You want to take your attention off the body sometime. You want to take your attention beyond the dreams of the world sometime. Because when you do that, you're in what the way of mastery defines as the kingdom of heaven, which is a love and a oneness that is vast beyond your comprehension. Key word being vast beyond comprehension. So what does that mean? It means that there are things you will never understand. There will be things that are beyond your comprehension. At this level of consciousness of believing that you're separate in a body, there are just going to be some things that are just beyond your comprehension. So you just need to accept that there are going to be some things that you just can't comprehend. There are levels of love. There's a level of vastness that you just can't comprehend. That's called the kingdom of heaven. And so when you're in touch with the kingdom of heaven, when you're in touch with the real love and oneness within you, it will contain everything in this world, and everything in this world will be embraced within the heart, just like a dewdrop is consumed by the ocean that receives it. So everything that's going on in your experience, everything in your world will be contained inside of love when you put your attention on it. Because whatever you put your attention on, that's what you perceive, that's what you manifest, and that's what you draw to yourself in your perception. It's what you put your attention on is the world you will live in. You're going to live in the world of perception that's based on what you put your attention on. So, Phoenix says that love is so delicious, and I agree, love is so delicious. And Joanne says, these are beautiful thoughts. That's why I share this. That's why I do these classes. That's why I do these presentations. It's because I want to hear beautiful thoughts and not just the thoughts of the friggin' ego, the thoughts of fear, the thoughts of the world. Phoenix, thank you for sharing this presentation on your Facebook timeline. A leader says beyond time, beyond the body, beyond the dream of the world. That's where we want to get to the kingdom of heaven. Latricia says, observe where attention is, because where you put your attention, that's going to be the world that you see. A leader says, I will observe where my attention is. I want to think only loving thoughts, and so do I, leader. I only want to think loving thoughts. Jim says, if I'm hearing only loving thoughts, then settle into this place. We must settle into the place where we're only hearing loving thoughts. Another comment is, I will never understand the kingdom of God while in this dimension. That's right, Alita. We just need to accept that there are some things you just will be beyond your comprehension, and that's a good thing. Phoenix says, I create the awareness of my thoughts, words, and deeds, removing the blocks to the presence of love. And removing the blocks to the presence of love that's within us is what our spiritual work is. You're right. And Mason says, just two simple words, fresh perspective. And that's what the Way of Mastery is doing. The Way of Mastery is giving us a fresh perspective. Wake me up. I join you in that idea, Macy. Wake us up. And Julia says, there are things I will never understand. That you're right. There are things I will never understand. The Course in Miracles says don't even try to understand a lot of insanity, because at some level you think you could appreciate it if you could understand it. Okay. I love it. I love you. I love you. So let's go to the next paragraph. Here we go. Here, beloved friends, is the place of all certainty. Here is the place of perfect power to fulfill the loving thoughts with which your Creator has caressed you. In the kingdom of heaven, in the oneness of love, is the place of perfect power to do what? Perfect power to fulfill the loving thoughts with which your Creator has caressed you. Here is the way to fulfill each loving vision. Here is the way to fulfill each loving vision. Here is the source of all wisdom upon which you can draw. You can do what? You can draw on the source of all wisdom. To do what? To recreate yourself. To recreate yourself to be what? Recreate yourself to be the presence of Christ incarnate. Be the presence of love incarnate. So this paragraph says, here, beloved friends, which is the kingdom of heaven, which is a vast love beyond your comprehension. It says this is the place of perfect power. To do what? To fulfill the loving thoughts with which God has caressed you. This is the way to fulfill each loving vision. Here is the source of all wisdom upon which you can draw to recreate yourself to be the presence of Christ incarnate in heaven, in that experience of our vast oneness, that experience of our vast love. That's where we can draw on the source of all wisdom to recreate ourselves, in a sense, to be the presence of Christ incarnate. Okay, so what does it mean to be the presence of love incarnate? It means that you are not going to be a representative of separation, a representative of guilt and anger and grievance and ignorance and projection and blame, that you are going to be a human embodiment of what the truth represents, what love truly is. That is to be the presence of Christ incarnate. That's what you're here to be. I used to wait for everybody else to change, and then I'd be happy, right? As soon as everybody else became more sane, everybody else will become more loving, everybody else will become more giving. At that point, then Earl is going to become more loving and more sane and more giving. No, that's not it at all. I'm supposed to be that way. I have to give what I want to receive. You have to give what you want to receive. There's a wisdom you can draw on so that you can recreate yourself to be the presence of love incarnate. And if you focus on doing that, everything else in your life will start to harmonize and take care of itself. If you're struggling, it's just because you're not yet allowing yourself to be the presence of Christ or love incarnate. Whatever struggles you think you're having in the world, if you think you're having struggles in the world, is a result of you not being the presence of love incarnate. Here then, next paragraph. Here then is the straight and narrow path. Do you want the straight and narrow path? So what does the straight and narrow path do? The straight and narrow path leads on to life. The straight and narrow path leads on to life. For life is beyond every concept. Life is beyond every concept. Life is beyond every concept you have ever heard. Truth is beyond any concept in the world that you've ever heard. Even those that I have used to communicate with you. Life is beyond all concepts. God is beyond all concepts. Truth is beyond all concepts. There have been they have been like so many fingers. Concepts are like so many fingers, pointing to and pointing at the moon that shines its light gently upon you. Concepts point to the truth. But that light, where does the light live? Where does the light live? Light lives in the depth of a silent heart. Life and light and truth lives in the depth of a silent heart. Therefore, what? Silence is the doorway to wisdom divine. Silence is the doorway to wisdom divine. Silence is the doorway to wisdom divine. Silence. Silence. Silence is the doorway to wisdom divine. Silence is the doorway to wisdom divine. Silence is the doorway to wisdom divine. So, what did that paragraph tell us? That living and being the incarnation of love, being the incarnation of God, being a living embodiment of truth, that's what's going to be the straight and narrow path that will lead you onto a fulfilling life. But life and truth is beyond any concepts that you've ever heard, any concepts that you've ever studied. Life, which is truth, is beyond even the concepts that I'm saying to you and the concepts that this teaching is saying to you. Concepts, words, they just point to the truth. But do you know where your real light is located? Your real light is located in the depth of a silent heart. So what is the doorway to wisdom? What is the doorway to divine wisdom? The doorway to divine wisdom is silence. So I would invite you to listen to people more than you speak. Listen more than you speak. And try not to judge what you're listening to. You're in your ego if all you're thinking about is what you're going to say to the person at the first moment that they stop speaking. If you are more focused in on what you're going to say to a person in a conversation than listening to what they are saying, you are in your ego. You're in your ego. What did we just hear? Silence. Silence is the doorway to divine wisdom. Jim has repeated that. Silence is the doorway to divine wisdom divine. Demola, silence is the way to wisdom divine. Latricia, silence is the doorway to... Notice that the mighty companions online are doing exactly what Yeshua Jesus is telling us to do in the way of master, which is repetition, repetition. I'm the divine repetition teacher, DRT. And I'm supporting and facilitating repetition and remembering. Analyzing it will not make a bit of difference in your enlightenment, but remembering will. Remembering what? That silence is the doorway to wisdom divine. Nicola says silence. Phoenix says I'm the presence of Christ incarnate. Silence is the doorway to wisdom divine. Silence is the doorway to the truth. The doorway to divine wisdom is silence. Julia says, my real light inside is in the depth of my silent heart. Yvette says, the doorway to divine wisdom is silence. So what are we doing, mighty companions? We are doing what we're being told. We're actually remembering and repeating what it is saying to us. We're actually remembering and repeating what's being said to us. And then we're doing it together. And doing it together is what makes it real. Listen more than you speak. Listen more than you speak. Listen more than you speak. So what is the next paragraph? Let's go and let's hear it together. Here we go. Remain with me here. Remain with me here. Do not think on what you read, but allow what you read to pour through you. Allow what you read to do what? Allow what you read to pour through you. Knowing that the vibrations of wisdom that these words carry will leave their trace upon you without the least bit of effort on your part. So what did we just hear? Don't think about what you read. Allow what you read to pour through you, knowing that the vibrations of wisdom that these words carry will leave their trace upon you without the least bit of effort on your part. You need only be as a lover. What? You need only be as a lover to the mind of God. You need only be a lover to the mind of God. That means what? Opening, allowing, receiving. Open, allow, receive. Open, allow, receive. I open, allow, and receive. I open, allow, receive. Taking in that which your Creator would bestow upon you. So how do you take in what God would bestow on you? By opening, allowing, and receiving. So right now, what are we being told to do? Just remain right here. Stop analyzing what you read. When it says don't think about what you read, it means don't analyze what you are reading. Don't even analyze what you're listening to right now. Just allow the vibrations of these words to pour through you. Just know that the vibration of wisdom, that these words are carrying a vibration of wisdom. These words are carrying a vibration of wisdom, and they will leave their trace on you. And it says, without the least bit of effort on your part. You can reap the benefit of these words without the least bit of effort on your part. If you would just let what I'm saying pour through you. That's why I use the approach that I use in teaching, so that music and the rhythm and the feeling and the energy, we want to come together to just feel the beauty and the wisdom of what we're hearing together. Latricia says, I open, allow, and receive. Demola says, to be a lover to the mind of God is my only true desire. That's right, Demola. That's where I feel also. I want to love God's mind. I want to love minds of love. I want to love minds of love, the mind of God. And you do that by being open. You do that by doing what? Allowing. And you do that by doing what? Receiving, taking it in. Open, allow, receive. Open, allow, receive. Yvette says, such a divine flow. I feel the beauty. Jacqueline says, I feel the beauty. Jim says, I need only be a lover to the mind of God. What do you want to do? What are the three words? You want to open, allow, and receive. That's what you want to do. Julia says, I can absorb all the wisdom you impart just by allowing and listening. Don't analyze. Exactly, Julia. Jax says, I want to love minds of love. To love the mind of God means to love the minds of love. That's right, Irene. And Julia just repeated also again, open, allow, receive. Jim says, Holy Spirit, decide for me to be only a lover of the mind of God. And Jack says, I understand somehow. And Jacqueline says, open, allow, receive. I love it. I love that we're almighty companions coming together and doing this together. I am a teacher of love. I'm a divine repetition teacher. My goal is to help everyone hear and remember what we're being told. So let's go to the next paragraph, shall we? Remain with me in the depth of this perfect silence. What is it that you are supposed to do? Remain with me in the depth of this perfect silence. Notice how you begin to feel. Notice how you begin to feel. Notice how you begin to feel a gentle spaciousness, a peace descending upon you, like a gentle dove. And yet, guess what? You got this peace descending on you like a gentle dove, but you have done nothing. And again, and again, and again, should you feel your attention being pulled back, should you feel your attention being pulled back to the surface of your awareness, if you find your attention being pulled back to the ego, to the surface of your awareness, what do you do? What do you do? You merely choose again, choose again, choose again, choose again, and return to the quiet of the heart. Choose again and return to the quiet of the heart. So remain with me in the depth of this perfect silence. So just remain with the Creator. Stay in that silent place. What is it that you do next? You notice how you begin to feel. Notice how you begin to feel. If you stay in that silent place and you're not listening to your fearful thoughts, or at the very least not letting your fearful, unloving thoughts direct you, then you will go into a gentle spaciousness. Do you know you will start to experience peace descending on you? And yet you wouldn't have done anything. And if you let your attention be pulled back to the ego, if you find your attention being pulled back to the past or the future, or fear or anger or guilt or conflict, that's returning to the surface of your awareness. Choose again. And then you will return to the quiet heart. So what does that say to me? Well, it says to me that I'm going to be choosing a lot. I'm going to be choosing again a lot, because whenever I have any type of unloving, ego, fearful, upsetting thought come up in my mind, I have to, first of all, be quiet. Don't try to repress it. Just choose to return to your quiet heart. If someone's saying something to you, for example, and you find yourself getting more and more disturbed, more and more upset, and you're tempted to speak out of your anger and your upset, take a breath, and shut up. Be quiet. Be silent. Use your anger, use your upset, use your frustration as a cue to be quiet, not as a cue to speak up out of anger. Return to the quiet of the heart. Return to the quiet of the heart. That's right, Julia. If you pull back to the ego, judging, fearful, unloving thoughts, be quiet. Don't repress. What I mean by don't pretend to yourself that you're not feeling what you're feeling. Just don't use those feelings and those thoughts as your guide in how to respond to the situation. That's what I'm saying. You're welcome, Patricia. Okay. Here we go. Like Jax says, choose between the pain into the quiet place without repressing it. That's right. Don't repress, but don't let your ego advise you. Return to the quiet heart. I am loved. Next paragraph says, I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. You are loved, you are loving, you are lovable forever. You are loved, you are loving, you are lovable forever. You are lovable forever. Let this phrase be as a stairway that descends from the world of your making to the depth of perfect peace. Let this phrase, I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. You need repeat it only when you notice. You need repeat it only when you notice that you become temporarily distracted by the sights and sounds and images of the world around the body. You need repeat, I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable, only when you notice that you have become temporarily distracted. Temporarily distracted by what? By the sights and sounds and images of the ego around the world as well. You need to repeat, I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable, whenever you find yourself temporarily distracted by the sights, sounds, and images of the ego world around the body, as well as the thoughts that seem to stream and dance along the surface of the brain center. When you are beginning to have ego, fearful, angry, upset thoughts, then you need to repeat this phrase to yourself. What is the phrase I need to repeat to myself when I'm feeling distracted temporarily by some type of a fear, anger, or ego thought? I am loved, I am loved, I am loved. I am loving, I am loving, I am loving. I am lovable forever. I am lovable forever. I am lovable forever. That's what you say when you're temporarily distracted by your fearful, angry ego. Say to yourself, I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. As you come to feel grounded, that means rooted in that deep and silent place. Ask whatever you will, and its answer shall not be hidden from you. As you come to feel grounded, that means you're rooted in this deep and silent place. That's when you ask for whatever you so will. And your answer, guess what? Your answer shall not be hidden from you. Ask to witness my lifetime. That's what Yeshua Jesus says. Ask to witness my lifetime as I walked upon your earth, and it will be shown to you. Ask to be shown the vibrational field in which you were conceived in this life, and it will not be hidden from you. Ask whatever you would about a friend who perhaps has seemed troubled of late, and the source of what is occurring within them will be gently revealed to you. So we were told by Yeshua that once you get into that place of focusing in on that you are loved, and you are loving and you are lovable forever. When you're feeling quiet, when you're feeling grounded, what should you do? Ask whatever you want to ask, and the answer won't be hidden from you. But then we were given what? We were given some suggestions. Yeshua says, ask to witness my lifetime as I walked upon your earth. Okay, so we ask to witness the lifetime of Yeshua, Jesus, as he walked upon the earth. Ask to be shown the vibrational field in which you were conceived in this life. We ask to be shown the vibrational field in which we were conceived in this life. Then it says, ask whatever you would about a friend, especially a friend that seems to be troubled about something, and the source of what's happening inside of them will be gently revealed to you. So feel free to ask whatever it is you need to know, or what would be best for you to know about any friend or any relative or anybody that's close to you. Ask. That's why I call myself the divine repetition teacher, because you can see that we're being told very specific things to do. Things that we can do. You can be quiet right now and you can ask for whatever you want, and the answer can come to you. You can ask to witness what it was like for Jesus when he walked the earth. You can ask to be shown the vibrational field that conceived of you. You can ask to know whatever you need to know about anybody that you know. And the answer that you would need would be given and revealed to you. And that's what my mighty companions are doing right now. I love you all so much. Because we are doing this together, and that makes it more powerful for all of us when we're doing what we're being told together. Take a breath and tell yourself right now, I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. Next paragraph. Are you ready? For remember that in this place, remember, see it says remember, for remember that in this place you are awareness itself. Who are you? You are awareness itself. That awareness, that consciousness lives equally as the essence of each and every one whom you know and love. You love, your love of them, your love of them does what? Your love of them is what binds you to them. In the depth of a quiet awareness, your love of others is what binds you to them. In the depth of a quiet awareness. As you descend the stairway to the quiet place of the heart, as you descend the stairway to the quiet place of the heart, there are a few things to do what? There are a few things to leave behind you as you descend the stairway to the quiet place of the heart. There are a few things to leave behind you. What? Leave behind the need to be right. Leave behind the need to be right. Leave behind the need to be right. Leave behind the need to be supported in your illusions. Leave behind the need to be supported in your false ideas. Leave behind the need to be supported in your fears, in your guilts, in your angers, in your projections and blaming. Leave behind the need to be supported in your illusions. Leave behind the need to fear. Leave behind the fear of rejection. Leave behind the fear of rejection. Leave behind the fear of being abandoned. Leave behind the fear of rejection. Leave behind the fear of abandonment. Leave behind the fear of denial. Leave behind the fear of death. Leave behind every thought of what the world is. Leave behind every thought of what the world is. And leave behind every thought of what the world is and what the world is for. Leave behind every thought of what the world is and what the world is for. Leave behind every thought you have ever held of anyone. Leave behind every thought you have ever held of everyone. Leave behind every thought you have ever held of everyone and everywhere. And everywhere. So we are being told that there's a consciousness that's in everyone that you know. We all have the same consciousness, and we all have the same consciousness of love in each and every one of us. And it's your love to someone. It's your love of someone that will bind you to them. Let the love you have for someone, let that bind you to them. But do that in quiet awareness. So as you go down the stairway to the quiet place of the heart, if you want to go to this place of the heart, if you want to go to this place of joy, if you want to go to this place of happiness, do you know that there are a few things you've got to leave behind? If you truly want to be happy, there are certain things you will have to let go of. That's just the way that it is. If you're going to truly be peaceful, if you're going to truly be happy, then there's some certain things you're going to have to leave behind. You're going to have to leave behind the need to be right. You're going to have to leave behind the need to be supported in your illusions and your false ideas and your fears. You're going to have to leave behind the fear of being rejected. If you want to be happy, you're going to have to leave behind your fear of abandonment. If you want to be happy, you're going to have to leave behind your denial, and you're going to have to leave behind the fear of death. What else do you need to leave behind if you're going to be happy? If you're going to be happy, you have to leave behind every thought of what the world is, and you have to leave behind every thought of what the world is for, and you ultimately have to leave behind every thought that you have about anyone or everything, anywhere, especially if it's not based on love. Especially if it's not based on love. Especially if it's not based on love. Are you feeling me? Are you with me? That's right, Julia. If you truly want to be happy, you must release the need to be right. Emily, that's right. You must leave behind being a victim. That's right. You got to leave behind the attitude that you're a victim if you truly want to be happy. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love how we are all coming together. So let's look at the next paragraph. Surrender, relinquish the world of your perceptions, and come quietly to kneel before your Creator. There, in the silent place of the heart, in the silent place of the heart, unattached to whatever is given you or shown you, nothing will be kept secret. Nothing will be kept secret. Surrender. Would you know the foundations of the world? The answer is here. The answer is here. Would you know how to best direct love to a loved one? The answer is here. A voice will speak to you like a voice crying from the wilderness. Pictures will be shown to you. What did I say? Pictures will be shown to you. Feelings will be enlivened within you. Feelings will be enlivened within you, and you will know the way to extend your treasure. Yes, you will. I say you will know the way to extend your treasure. You will know the way. Remain with me here, for here do I abide. Remain with me here, mighty companion. The only difference between us is that occasionally you believe that you abide somewhere else other than in love. When you journey up those stairs that I'm talking about, when you journey up those stairs, to begin to be distracted by the thoughts of the ego on the surface of your mind, when you begin to be distracted by the sensory feedback of the energy field that comprises your physical creation, when you are distracted by the feedback of the energy field that comprises your physical creation, I, the love within you, the Christ within you, Yeshua, I remain in our shared heart. You remain in our shared heart. Patiently, I remain in our shared heart, patiently waiting for your return. Remain with me here. Okay, now listen to this. Right here. I am loved, I am loving, and I am lovable forever. This is the truth that sets me free. I am that I am. My awareness knows no limitation, and all worlds arise within me. I am that mind, present in all beings when they descend the stairway and embrace the truth that alone is true always. Here is perfect peace. Here is the recognition that nothing is lacking. Here is the embrace of the fulfillment of the love I have sought in all the wrong places. Here alone do I abide. Here alone do I remain. I am that one existing before all worlds. This alone is the truth about me. These words are not mine. These words are ours. And we share in these words equally. I am loved. I am loving. I am lovable forever. I am that I am. Out of the depths of that perfect silence and the remembrance of that perfect knowledge, there comes the impulse of a loving thought. Take me into form. Take love into form. Take Christ into form. Take me into form. Take me into space and time. Take me, loved Christ's truth into space and time. Reveal me to the world. Reveal love to the world. Your life can become, whenever you choose it be so, merely the process of Christ's incarnation. Your life can be the process of love's incarnation. Relinquish the world, relinquish the fear, even as you walk through it. Surrender the world of fear and ego and separation. Surrender it with every breath. Learn to cultivate the depth of this knowing in the midst of all activities in which the body is used. And what is the body used as? What is the body used as? The body is a temporary learning and teaching device. Your body is a temporary learning and teaching device. Your body is a temporary learning and teaching device. Your body is a temporary learning and teaching device. Okay, we're going to stop here, mighty companions, and we're going to do one little reminder recap in just a moment, and we're going to see if we can remember as much of this as we can. I am a full-time teacher. That is what I do in the world, is teach. Teach these classes online, teach them in person, and do clarity sessions. I appreciate and welcome your donations to my teaching ministry. So if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com, P-U-R-D-Y. If you'd like to use Venmo, my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I'm also a soul purpose astrologer and numerologist. There is a divine plan and a way for you to move through this experience. Your astrological chart is the blueprint of the intentions of your soul, your talents, your lessons, how you can take this knowledge that you're receiving through the way of mastery and use your own personal being to allow yourself to have the fulfillment that you want. I do what I call clarity sessions. If you'd like to find out more about what I do personally, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and you can book a session with me right from our website. Also, sign up for my contact list. Sign up for my contact list. Are you on my contact list? You want to make sure that you are. And follow, you can sign up for my contact list at my website, earlpurdy.com. Also, follow my Facebook page, the Earl Purdy page, and like that page so that you will be automatically informed whenever I go live on Facebook. Please share these videos on your Facebook page and other pages on Facebook. I do 3 Facebook Live presentations, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, which is the Way of Mastery, which is where we are right now. Thursday, I do hardcore Course in Miracles for Course in Miracles students, 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursdays. And on Sundays, I do a Facebook Live in front of a live audience at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. You can watch it on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. And if you're not on Facebook, just go to this address on the web, www.facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live. www.facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live. Thank you. Kim. So what we're going to do to finish up is this prayer we heard right at the end. The prayer that says, remain with me here. Remain with me here. That is on page 138. 138. So here we go. I am loved. I am loving. And you're juicy and sweet too, Julia. Latricia, Kim, Jax, Irene, Phoenix, Demola, everybody that's been online, all of you mighty companions that are watching all over the world. I'm going to say this to you, and I want you to hear this. Just let yourself hear this. Let yourself hear this. You are loved, you are loving, and you are lovable forever. You are loved, you are loving, you are lovable forever. You are loved, you are loving, you are lovable forever. You are loved, you are loving, you are lovable forever. You are loved, you are loving, you are lovable forever. Say to yourself, I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. Yes, you are, Quana. You are loved, you are loving, you are lovable forever. You are loved, you are lovable, you are loving. I'll say it again. You are loved, you are loving, you are lovable forever. You are loved, you are loving, you are lovable forever. This is the truth that sets you free. I'm so honored to be in your presence. You are so sacred. You are so frigging sacred. Mighty companions, I love you. And I want to say to you, that's right, Jassy, you are loved and loving and lovable forever. Love you too, Emily. Love all of you. And may this course be with you. Mwah. See you next time. And thank you for your generosity, those who have been sharing financial expressions of appreciation. I really do appreciate that. That allows me to do and continue to do what I do in the world. God bless you. Love you.